Okay, interesting. Let's do another one.
I wasn't expecting to go.
I said on go.
That's why he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
I didn't hear anything, so that should be a good sign.
That's probably good. All right.
Yeah, I think that sums up this podcast. Probably good.
That's good enough. Ship it. So welcome everyone back to GameBusters. We're back finally. We've had a tumultuous few weeks, mostly due to E3 and related shenanigans.
What, E3?
That certainly wasn't
Did that
E3.
just happen? I didn't notice anything from it.
I can't believe E3 is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we had everyone had a sort of a different than, what we have historically remembered as being E3 experience.
One way to put it.
No, that was fairly average. I expected a lot, got let down, and then had a few nice surprises.
That's the cycle.
Real peaks and valleys.
It's more on the media side. It was very abnormal, to say the least.
The 20-minute Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. Oh, and also Square Enix.
Tim, you were there. We suffered together in that. Like, just every single time that Guardians thing was done, it started a new one. Yeah. I was like, I was watching like The Dark Knight, and I kept seeing the end of the movie, and then there was another movie after it.
And then Lord of the Rings started.
I really bloody loved the Square Enix presentation. If you didn't like Guardians, you were stuffed, but we'd been briefed beforehand, so like we already knew that most of the show was going to be Guardians, and that definitely helped. so if you didn't know that, it must have sucked.
I want to qualify that, like, I do think Guardians looks pretty good, and if it does get like good reviews, I'll probably jump in there pretty early. Like, I'm tentatively excited about it.
They just screwed the pooch on making their
on the actual presentation of it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like they actually could have justified a separate showcase for Guardians of how much they had.
Also, by the way, it was very awkward because we had 4 people for the Square Enix one, and that was 40 minutes. It was just 2 of us for the PC for almost 2 hours.
Oh my god!
So there was a lot of
Just a lot of dead air.
Yeah, well, we tried to fill it as best we could, but there's just what even?
Well, I meant from the PC gaming show.
Oh yeah, that too. God, those skits were terrible.
Yeah, covering the C3 was an absolute nightmare. I mean, I was from the fortunate position at the Gamer where we actually, some companies did brief us on what was going to be shown like an hour or so beforehand, but like schedules would get moved around, so we'd have to redo what we'd done. Obviously, if anyone who saw the E3 app that we got given, that was an occurrence. We had to make like
did your fake me look a lot like you?
No, nothing like me. I think it looked more like Era from Final Fantasy. Why should I be honest? I can pretend to be anyone I want on the E3 app.
Yeah.
The
developers aren't being honest. Why should you?
The peak of the E3 app was I had a very brief conversation with someone from Sega, and the conversation was just like, do you know what you're doing? No. Do you know what you're doing? No. Okay, cool. Have a lovely E3. And that was it. I imagine when you're actually like on the convention floor, it's a bit different than that. But there you go. Great E3.
Great. Oh yeah. By the way, I think this is a podcast about like discussing video games, I think. And so what we do here is each week we dive into a game or a franchise, and we just want to talk about how cool it is or how influential it is, and go through some of the details of like development and stuff. So now we're just trying to chill. Things are getting a little less horrible and serious now, which is nice. The fire has dimmed outside the windows.
Oh, hold on. Let me throw some gasoline on that to keep us warm and toasty.
Ooh. It's so weird that like it feels like in the span of like 2 or 3 weeks, like the entire pandemic like lifestyle almost ended. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I went to the and Rhi, I know the UK is like a little bit behind on the vaccines and stuff from us, but still doing okay. But like I went to the grocery store yesterday, and there were probably like, I saw like 100 different people, and I saw maybe 4 or 5 people wearing masks. Like,
yeah. So over here,
the Shy Guys have always been wearing masks.
Okay,
you still have to
3
like
people then.
Yeah.
you still have to wear a mask if you have been vaccinated here. I guess because they don't trust people, to be honest, if they have been vaccinated or not, which I think is a pretty sensible policy, so I don't mind it. But I know
agree.
exactly what you mean. Like, so our vaccinations have been going really well. I think we're right in saying it's like the best in Europe. So I know exactly what you mean by that. Like, very suddenly, like, all the pubs are open, all the restaurants are open. Like, I went out to lunch with my mum yesterday, and it was scary. We were inside, and I wasn't wearing a mask, and it was just really weird.
Yeah,
It's so weird
I'm going.
right now.
I'm going to a bar with like humans tonight. What?
I know,
What are you
it's
talking
so
about?
weird.
You didn't even do that before the pandemic.
That's true.
But no, also, like, international travel's opening up again. In a month, I can go to Ireland, and I don't have to do a test before I go. That's insane.
Hey.
So you're
nice.
coming to visit us, right?
Yeah, obviously. No,
Excellent.
unironically, I want to go to America and but then
If you
America's
do
quite
come,
big, so I'm not sure I'm
you
going to
should,
see everyone.
Yeah, you gotta do a lap because we're a little spread out.
We're very spread out.
Have any of you even done a lap of America?
I have.
I've been to more states than not. I will say.
Okay.
That's something.
I have easily been to, I want to say 35, 38 states. I'd have to double count.
That sounds about right.
I've been around
It's-
the Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like
Midwest is big,
What?
isn't
That's-
it? There you go.
Yeah, neighboring states to Indiana. I've been to like Ohio and Chicago and stuff
Okay.
like that. Illinois.
Chicago's my favorite state.
I was gonna say, gotta
Yeah.
clarify that real quick. Just a city.
Chicago
just a
is
city.
a state of mind. Chicago is a state of mind.
It might as well be. There's nothing else.
I love that Alicia Keys song, "Chicago State of Mind." Okay, so I'm going to be Nirav on this one. It's me, and I'm the host,
decided.
and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Rhi,
Hey.
and our guests today are Tim.
Hello.
And Tim's dark shadow self,
Hi, how you doing?
and Josh from the internet, I guess.
Howdy.
And,
I come from the internet.
and Indiana. I
Yeah,
guess?
Indiana. The
Indiana Turnet, yes.
A homegrown corn boy.
might as well not be real.
Josh, be real with me. Like, how much corn have you like seen in your life, like growing up?
More than I can possibly comprehend. I
So
like
how like Erie, Indiana is the rest of the state? Because that's my my high watermark for it.
it's pretty spooky.
Yeah.
It's much like the show Erie, Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's a pretty
So,
faithful adaptation.
We're gonna steer into just kind of going around the table here, our real physical table. We're in a real studio. Don't ask any questions, and we're gonna talk about some of the games we're playing right now. So let's start off with Tim. What you playing right now?
Literally most recently, just before this, I was playing some Clan O'Connell because I got to get that review out. But I've also been playing some Assassin's Creed Valhalla, some Mighty Switch Force Federation. I might pick up. I picked up the Donkey Kong DLC for Mario XCOM.
Oh, yes.
So I might be
That's a very good DLC.
yeah. It was on sale, so I'm like, oh, I'll pick that up.
The only thing that bothered me about that DLC is that when Donkey Kong like makes sounds, he's like, "Hello," and it's like,
Hello.
I just like wasn't familiar with this style of Donkey Kong voice. I guess like
Well-
when I think of him like making sounds, I think of like the like maybe Mario Party, like you know what I'm talking about.
Well, the thing is, everybody else in the entire Donkey Kong continuity can actually talk. It's just he's very very soft spoken usually.
He's shy. He's
He's
not a
very
shy
shy,
guy.
yeah.
But he's a guy who's shy.
Yeah.
Though.
If it wasn't for messing with his banana horde, he'd just be sitting at home committing war crimes.
Just
Crazy.
Donkey Kong has done some war crimes.
Oh, that is a long running Donkey Kong fandom joke that he is responsible
okay.
for a lot of war crimes.
Okay, it's like
that
similar
tying
how
to,
like
like-
Yoshi is like on the
Yeah,
run for tax
that's right.
evasion.
except that there's the Donkey Kong, I want to say Jungle Beat, where he's beating down the other Kongs, and it is brutal.
I'm not paying much
genocidal.
attention to the environmental storytelling of those games. I got to go back through them.
That part in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze where Donkey Kong took that icicle and he like drove it through the brain of that crocodile, like I didn't stop to think about it too much at that time, but
Yeah.
it was brutal. It was some Last of Us shit. Okay, great. Josh, what you playing right now?
Well, I just finished Rift Apart like a few days ago. Really enjoyed it.
Hey.
Very good, very good. And now I'm just kind of doubling down on Chicory, A Colorful Tale. That just sort of dropped out of nowhere a couple days ago. And you're just...
Yeah, people have been talking about that, actually. Can you like, elevator pitch me on that game?
Yeah, so it's basically you're a cute little dog who starts out like as a janitor for who the wielder is, and in this universe the wielder is basically whoever keeps the world colorful and like touches it up, and like I think color slowly drains from the world, so it's up to them to just like keep the order basically. And then things happen, color gets sucked from the entire world, and you inadvertently become the wielder. So you're basically given free reign to just paint the entire world as you feel. You're not judged for it or anything like that. And it's basically a top-down Zelda game without the combat, aside from a couple of boss fights and stuff. But you're mostly just solving puzzles and painting, and it's really chill. And it has a lot to say about like things like imposter syndrome and anxiety and stuff. It's a lot heavier than I thought it would be, but it's mostly cozy.
Okay.
When
That
it's
sounds
not
pretty
trying
chill.
to
Really
rip your
good.
heart out.
Yeah.
But are you
Yeah.
allowed up on the couch?
A what?
But are you allowed up on the couch?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, you can actually.
And you
There's a
pet
lot of places where
yourself.
you can just sit down in this game and like take in the world. And it's like really nice.
Now here's
What are
here's
the?
a second important question: can you pet yourself?
You know what? I don't think you can. And well, you can paint yourself if that counts.
I think
you
that
go.
counts.
Yeah, it's close enough.
So, what are the odds that this is an unlicensed sequel to Epic Mickey?
Yeah. See, like.
No, it's a cozy okami.
It's also the soundtrack is done by Lena Rain, who did the Celeste
Oh,
soundtrack.
Celeste.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
she's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
composers.
as predictable, it's amazing. Like she does a really good job. The music is very dynamic, and it's also very cute and just makes you feel comfy.
Okay, that's gone on my list. Like I don't have enough. Like fucking like myriad of indie games that appeared at E3 out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
that one. The fact that one just dropped out of nowhere. I remember before when they were like first developing it. I think it was a crowdfunded game too. It was just called Draw Dog, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cute. I'll put that on my radar." And then
I like that title. I like titles that tell you right on the box what you're gonna get inside.
it's like
We're
Jumpman.
busy people.
All right, nice.
Yeah, but that's about it.
Rhi, what you doing right now?
Well, I've been slowly plodding along with Mass Effect. I'm now on Mass Effect 2, the remastered collection. So that's, yeah, it's Mass Effect 2. It's bloody amazing. Not really a lot to say about that. But I've mostly been playing Baldur's Gate, actually, the first one.
Oh.
I've like been slowly playing it since about September last year, and I sort of just I always do like really like quite old RPGs. Is that it takes me quite a while to get into them, and then I hit the point where I'm obsessed, and it's all I can do. And that's the point I reached a few days ago. So I've just been absolutely no-lifing it. I'm actually getting towards the end now. I would really, 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 really recommend it actually to anyone with mods to make the companions talk more, because that's what BioWare games are all about.
Yes.
But other than that, yeah, honestly, phenomenal RPG. BioWare possibly at its best in terms of like charm and world building and everything.
And stealing D&D. Well,
And stealing. Oh, yeah, it's D&D.
It's literally just D&D
Oh, yeah.
under the hood and
Of
out
course,
over the hood.
yeah.
But so is Knights of the Old Republic is literally just Star Wars D20 in
Yeah,
digital
exactly.
format.
And I've got to say, this is definitely helping me get into D&D, because I love playing it with friends and everything. But I do struggle a bit with the whole... I don't know, I've always been like nervous writing a character and like role-playing as that character in front of people. I'll come to like the session super prepared and then like just sort of freeze up.
Well,
But my
the trick is
boyfriend
to
comes-
realize that everybody else there is a giant nerd.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yep.
that. And like, I'm lucky that my boyfriend's done like 10 playthroughs of Baldur's Gate and has all these characters that he's got extensive backstories for. So we'll just like talk about our characters together, and that's like really helping me. So I'm like really looking forward to my next session now.
I meanwhile
Nice.
like come up with a character idea and I largely wing it. Like I look at a
100%.
class and I'm like, okay, I've got a stupid idea. Let's see where this takes me.
Yeah, like I to be honest, like my current in my D&D game where I'm a player, my current character is McCree from Overwatch. So I mean,
no,
like,
I respect that. I respect
Yeah.
bringing that to the session because
I
got charisma.
got 6 friends that might think otherwise.
Yeah, me. I looked at the Astral Self Monk in Tasha's, and I'm like, oh look, I can play a JoJo. I'm gonna play a JoJo. I'm gonna make her Russian. Oh wait,
Dude,
this is in Faerun? Okay, I'm gonna make her Faerun Russian.
Faerus. She's
Yeah.
from Faerus. This is actually a great segue for me because I started 2 weeks ago or so a campaign for the first time in Divinity Original Sin 2 with some of my friends who I also play D&D with. So the 4 of us are playing through a Divinity campaign right now, which is also it's D&D again.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, but it's been extremely fun. My character in this game is Bowser. I've created a lizard man who exclusively deals in fire and explosions. And basically my strategy has been to just run into the middle and kind of just explode a lot of fire around everybody. And I'm working on getting that fire skin perk so that I can like get health from being on fire and just kind of become a fire creature. So it's been fun.
Dry Bones Bowser.
I actually thought about being Dry Bones Bowser because there is a skeletal lizard character you can be.
I know.
Yep. I love how dynamic that game is. It's insane.
Yeah, it is super fun. It does have a few like things here and there that I'm like, okay, like in if we were actually playing D&D, like this wouldn't like happen this way, kind of a thing. Which, I mean, video games are never gonna get there. That's fine. It's whatever. But like, it's still a very fun game. Highly recommend. Other thing I'm playing right now is, of course, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm about halfway through. It is phenomenal. It makes every other video game that has ever been made look like a pile of dookie in a garbage can. So,
Sorry, I just need to do a quick aside. Did you see that Twitter post that went viral? So like complaining that what was it? There's no dynamic vegetation.
Oh yeah,
in
can't
Rift
move the
Apart.
foliage.
Can't move the foliage. B-tier studio.
I'm like, I just like changed planets within a second.
Yeah, like Josh, I just like last night got to the part with like where you're on the rail and you're fighting the fixer, that boss fight.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, that was so good.
That was, I cannot believe a video game could render things that beautifully and that quickly and so many things at once, and like it all makes sense, like it all is comprehensible.
I kept dying
It's so
because I was
fluid.
like looking at everything like
Looking,
whoa.
yeah, I just kept like looking at the environment and dying.
Yes, but do the leaves move when you bump into them? 0 out of 10.
Broken game.
Shit game. Yeah. Unplayable, in fact.
Literally unplayable. Anyway, this is definitely a strong contender for Game of the Year this year.
Excellent.
But it's extremely fun. The only issue I have with it is that it has crashed to desktop basically like several times.
I had a
which
couple
kinda sucks,
too,
but
yeah.
Yeah, like it's extreme. The thing is, like, I will also qualify it as never once stuttered, never once dropped a frame below 60. And it's doing ray tracing and 60 FPS. You know, it's crazy that
jeez,
it's able to do that. Anyway, I've talked enough about our good friend Ratchet. Also,
And
Rivet
not enough
is the
about our
real
good
goat. I'm
friend
sorry.
Clank.
Clank doesn't get a lot of see, like, I gotta say, in this game, like, I have no emotional attachment to Ratchet and Clank. The only one I've played before is the 2016 one. This, like, to me, this game is called Rivet and Clank, and Ratchet is there sometimes, and like I don't care much about him.
Yeah, Rivet really does like.
Rivet really steals the
She's
show. Like,
great.
she and Clank are such a great team. So I hope we get to see more of her in future games.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but Clank pairs very well with anybody.
Yeah, Clank is just
That's
great.
probably true.
He is
He's
a
a good
very
dude.
charismatic
He's
little
just
bot.
cool.
All right, so let's get into the hardy business of talking about video games. So this week we are talking about the Metroid franchise, obviously spurred on by the renewal of a once thought lost franchise. Metroid is coming back with Metroid Dread, which is the chronologically I saw in an interview the last Metroid game in the timeline. So they have been very firm about the fact that Metroid Dread is going to be the end of the Metroid chronology, and that future games will take place either as spin-offs or in different parts of this timeline. But in the same way that Breath of the Wild is the end of the Zelda timeline, you know.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes. Until they
Until they
decide to
made
make a
the
Metroid
sequel.
Dread 2.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put out my cards on the table here, and hat in hand.
As admit our extensive knowledge of this.
Okay, so I'll go first. My experience with the Metroid franchise has been, I have played about 2 hours of Metroid Prime 3, and then I got really tired of the Wii Remote, and then I didn't play more of it.
How dare you.
And then the other day, I played about half an hour of Metroid Zero Mission at the request of Josh. And
I'm so sorry.
no, it's okay. I liked it
Yeah.
until about half an hour in, and then I died, and I had not found a save point, and so I was like started the game over.
That's so
How did
demoralizing.
you not find one? They shove them at you repeatedly.
I'm shocked, honestly. I just didn't though. Like
Yeah.
I found a lot of those statues where they give you they curl up in there, but like I didn't find any like save points, so I just was like, all right, well I guess I did it bad.
They follow you to them repeatedly. It's kind of amazing.
I'm not that mad at the game. I'm sure I also was like 1:30 a.m. and I was like,
Ooh, yeah,
maybe
tired
not
brain.
in the right state of mind.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know a lot about Metroid or what it. There's a big brain slug in it. Reed, what about you?
Okay, I think you might know more than me. So,
Oh, you know about the brain slug?
yeah, there's the big brain thing that, like, hooks onto your head and does something. I know this through Smash Brothers, which is
Yes.
where all of my Metroid knowledge comes from. So I played Melee, loved that. Played Brawl, loved that, and always, like, really fancied Zero Suit Samus.
As well as
And-
you should.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like little 8-year-old me, it really confused me, but I love her. Anyway, then because like I got on the GameCube bandwagon like right at the very end, so I missed out on any Metroid games there. And then I got a Wii, and I was all about the Wii games. And then I was like, okay, I really like the look of this Samus lady. Oh, what's the latest Metroid game? What's this? Metroid Other M? Okay, let's see what this is all about. And I played a little bit of it, and then it crashed, and it didn't work ever again. From what I've heard from fans, that's probably not the worst thing in the world to happen.
Yeah, it was sending a warning when it did that.
Yeah.
That was God
It's like,
intervening.
no!
I
you were
like
being
looked up
saved
the
from the
plot
plot of
afterwards,
Other
and
M.
the plot looks
The baby.
the plot looks terrible.
The baby.
Like she's just
the plot is
completely
terrible. The
undermines
gameplay is
character.
great in Other M, but the plot I don't know why Sakamoto couldn't decide if he wanted to remake Fusion or make a new game, and so he did both.
Yeah. I like Team Ninja normally, but good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go.
Oh,
ahead
I
and
blame
jump into
everything
this.
wrong with that game on Sakamoto because Team Ninja said, "But we could do this instead." And Sakamoto's no, this.
Okay.
So, Tim and Josh are both, I think, longtime fans of the Metroid series.
Very long.
Yes, and again, Metroid's actually having its 35th anniversary this year, so a long-running series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big part of Nintendo history.
I can say that I think I've been playing this series since before. Or let's see, when were you born? Everybody?
1989.
Okay, not before you were born.
Oh, in 93.
Before you were born.
Yeah.
I was a bit late to the series.
You're like
too.
what, 9? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 99.
Oh
Of
my
course, I'm a
God.
baby when I
Yeah.
admit that.
I've been playing this series for longer than most of you, my other co-hosts have been alive.
I was also a bit late to the franchise. I think my first one was Zero Mission, and then I went back and played Prime, and then went back and played
see.
Super Metroid and all that. But definitely,
Rhea, I think actually, if you were born in '99, then I think I actually have been playing like Pokemon at the very least since before you were born. So that's fun.
Oh, sorry, you cut out like right at the end there. What was that?
You know what? It's probably better you didn't hear, so I don't scar you. Okay. So what we're gonna do is just kind of jump in. So could you guys give me like a very again elevator pitch sort of like what is Metroid about at its core?
You are alone on a planet or a space station. There's horrible monsters that you have to stop. It will probably blow up at the end.
Okay.
and they really like
That's
the movie
pretty- that's
Alien.
They do.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Alien. Don't worry. So yeah, we'll start at the beginning here. So the first, so just a quick series overview. The first Metroid was developed by Nintendo for the NES in 1986, just called Metroid, and it did mark Samus as one of the earliest female video game protagonists. I don't believe she is the very first one, but she is among the first.
She is not the first. There are several earlier ones, but she's the longest lasting from way back then, I think.
Sure. And I mean, I don't know if I'm alone in seeing just, you know, in my headcanon, I think the ball from Pong is also female. I'm not 100% sure, but that might have been the first one. So this was followed by Metroid 2 Return of the Samus. Return of Samus in 1991. That was for the Game Boy. And then Super Metroid, which is the big boy in 1994 from Intelligent Systems. So I think that's probably going to be a lot of the discussion here today about Super Metroid, because I know that I would say more often than not when I talk to longtime fans of this series, they cite Super Metroid as their favorite.
Well, it is spectacular to the point where it's still defining the subgenre spawned from it and Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Decades later.
Right. Yeah. We'll talk about Metroidvanias as like a genre a little bit too. And then following that was Metroid Prime in 2002. That was the first 3D game and developed by Retro Studios. And they made 2 more games in that trilogy. And the Metroid Prime trilogy is considered by a lot of critics to be one of the best game trilogies of all time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I am planning to go back to those. I've heard about some mods that remove.
How dare you ignore calling it just a trilogy? Because there is Pinball and there is Hunters. It's a quintology, thank you.
And Federation Force.
Yeah, that doesn't focus on Samus though.
That's true.
Okay, yes. Then in 2010, Rhi's favorite game came out, Metroid Other M. And that was developed by Team Ninja, of course, who has made some really good games and also some really bad games. So, you know, take your pick. And then they returned back with Metroid Samus Returns, which was a remake of Metroid 2 from the good old days, and that was for the 3DS.
Yes.
And then, of course, at E3 2021 this year, they announced the 5th main series game, Metroid Dread. So it's had a long branching sort of time, but there are 5 main... from what I've seen, there are 5 main series Metroid games, and then everything else is basically a spin-off. Is that how you guys would consider it?
There are 5 2D series games. I would not consider Prime so much a spin-off as... I mean, I would consider it part of the same series as of the main series. Nintendo of America considers it a spin-off, but considering how much goodwill Prime, both as a series and as a Metroid game, created for Nintendo just in general, they're being stupid if they don't want to recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so just to get you familiar, some of the figures involved with Metroid from the get-go. Satoru Okada, who was the director, and he was kind of credited as the creator. Then, of course, we mentioned Yoshio Sakamoto, who was the character designer, and then I guess subsequently sabotaged his baby. Gunpei Yokoi, who was the kind of the producer for those first 2 games, and then Makoto Kano, who was the story writer. And then they had Hiroji Kiyotake, who was the character designer for the original game. So small group of people, of course, on the first game, as a lot of those early NES games were. Groups of 4 to 6 people ended up making the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
And even, a lot of the time, just a single person. For the original Super Mario Bros. Wasn't that just basically Miyamoto? And I think someone else, and in addition to someone else did the sound and music stuff, but I think he did pretty much all of the game part of it. If I remember,
it was him and one other person who did the majority of programming and level design. Then there was, I think it was less than 10 people total.
Yeah, definitely. So that was just kind of the way it was back then, of course. And if you go back even further, into the early 80s, late 70s, like you'll find even more examples of single people spending like 5-6 years producing a single game, and it sounds horrendous.
I mean, Donkey Kong was basically a one-man show to try and repurpose a bunch of carts or arcade cabinets that they bought and then couldn't use due to licensing rights. They had the equipment, but they didn't, I believe, have the rights to the game, so they had to make something that could run on it. And that's how Donkey Kong came about.
So, I found this to be really interesting, and I had not thought about this before, but when they created Metroid, Nintendo sat down in a room and said, Mario and Zelda both did great. How do we combine them? Yeah. So they like that was legitimately the thought process, was like, we need the Mario platforming in this like side-scrolling world, and we need the like unbounded adventure side from Zelda, where you can go anywhere and do anything. Because if you remember, the first Legend of Zelda was essentially like a prototype of an open world game.
Yes.
Like you could, for the most part, go anywhere and do anything in any order. And like
it wasn't necessarily a good idea, but you could absolutely run to like. Well, if you had the right item, you could leave a dungeon and go to the next one.
Yeah. Which is neat. So the also the word Metroid actually comes from a portmanteau of metro, like as in a metro train, and android. So that's fun, like an android train. Yeah. They basically were thinking of like, okay, the we have androids in this game, and then it's underground like a metro. So I don't know.
I don't think there's actually any actual androids, but that gets into the fact that a lot of Japanese people think the word android means cyborg.
Oh, interesting.
It actually.
I think a lot of
like if you've ever seen Dragon Ball, the majority of android characters are augmented humans.
Oh, interesting. That kind of makes sense. So I liked this bit here. Halfway through development of the original Metroid, one of the staff said to his fellow developers, "Wouldn't it be cool if it turned out the person inside the suit was a woman?" And then the guy was like, "Yeah, that would be cool." And then they did it.
Yep.
So, which is really dope.
Such a simple twist for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy twist, because is it at the end of the original Metroid that she takes off her helmet and reveals she's a woman?
Yeah,
or if you do well enough, she does the whole suit.
Yeah.
Oh, the bikini thing, yeah.
Of course.
It's a one piece, not a bikini. But yeah.
For the gamers. Actually, tell me about that, because I knew roughly of that. What is that situation? She like takes, it's like a reward for something?
If you beat the game quick enough, I think it's a little under 2 hours. It's not actually 2 hours.
Yeah, I think so.
Then instead of just taking her helmet off, she'll take the whole suit off and be in a one piece and wave at you.
Oh, okay. That's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Let's I don't know, just considering what I expect from gamers at the time, I guess.
And then you can do a
Judging
new
by
game
modern-day
plus.
standards, so.
Yeah. After that, you
that's
can do a
true.
new game plus where her sprite's been replaced by the one piece version.
Okay. That's exciting. I think that a lot of the reason, and of course now let's get into Alien. So, of course, Ridley Scott's 1979 movie Alien was a huge direct influence to Sakamoto and the rest of the team for Metroid. Of course, the first Metroid, they said like the first Metroid had kind of been done, from their minds, but after they saw Alien, they were like, whoa, this fits so well with our Metroid idea. And so the idea going into Metroid 2 and beyond was to kind of like use the world that they had created with the original Metroid and fuse it with the world of Alien. And so of course we met the our favorite new antagonist, Ridley, of course named after Ridley Scott, the director of Alien.
Well, he was already there in the first one as Ridley.
Oh, was he? Okay,
yeah.
That must have been before that then they saw.
Well,
but yeah.
the thing is, I think they saw it while they were making the first one, and they decided to name Ridley. And then going forward, because Metroid 2 Return of Samus absolutely has that we're stuck on a planet full of these things vibe. Like,
right.
Even more so, you're explicitly hunting them all down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Aliens 3 in that situation.
And Yeah, and the art going forward also was definitely influenced by H.R. Giger, similar to the Alien movie. So, and by the way, if you are, I have to say, like, I that style of art or whatever, just world building, like, unsettles me so much, like, to the point that, like, I just, like, that game Scorn that's coming out for the Xbox, that's like just H.R. Giger on like steroids.
Well, that's, like, I mean, Geiger was trying to unsettle you.
Okay. Yeah, well, he did it, so I don't want to play that game, and I never want to look at another trailer for it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It's
unsettling.
Look,
it is
if you
extremely
haven't found
disgusting.
all of the phallic and yonic symbology in a Geiger piece, you haven't finised looking.
Yeah,
you
you
will
gotta keep
never
looking.
find them all. You
I would argue that I've definitely finished looking.
It hasn't finished looking at you, though.
Yeah, so I did want to ask you two here, like, what have you seen a lot of similarities story-wise between the Alien films and Metroid?
Aside from badass lady fights alien, not too much.
Not much. Mostly probably because they were also marketing these towards like a younger audience too.
Yeah,
they didn't want to get too into the like the chest bursting aliens and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
But just aside from like the protagonist, not too much.
Yeah, but I think that I am curious about the timeline of that. I do wonder if the decision to make Samus a woman was influenced by, of course, having a female protagonist in the movie Alien.
Well, absolutely. I
sure.
mean, there was a 5-year gap, and they'd very clearly seen it by the time the first game was done. So it's like the guy who said, "Wouldn't it be awesome?" and somebody said, "Yeah, let's do that." Ripley was cool.
Yeah, that was the last half of the sentence that was cut off in the interview. Yeah, which is really cool, and of course, like, I don't know, I think the Alien movie, and I don't know, like, I know I'm hated worldwide for this, but I actually preferred Aliens over Alien. I'm maybe the most hated man on the internet.
No.
For this
So
take.
the thing is, they are two complete different genres of movies.
Oh yeah, they are so different,
and it is perfectly fine to like one movie, the first movie in its own genre, the second movie in its own genre more. They are both master classes in their genre, but they should not be compared because they are not doing the same thing. Also, I did think of something that might have been taken very much from the Alien series, specifically Super Metroid may have taken some inspiration from like the whole "get away from her, you bitch" thing, because it's very specifically Samus having the eternal connection to the baby Metroid that they then went on to ruin in Other M.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well. That's interesting. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of I lost it. Anyway, okay. Well, I got by a Metroid, I guess, latched onto my old brain here. I think that their powers that they make you forget what you were talking about. Is that right?
They
exactly.
just suck out your entire life force, but memory loss is a known side effect.
That too.
Sure.
They're like an anti-podcaster bioweapon. That's the origin.
They are actually engineered bioweapon. That is hilariously true.
Great. I don't need any anti-podcast weapons wandering their way into this place. We are struggling enough as it is.
We're the anti-podcaster bioweapons. We're psyops.
Yeah, this podcast I like to think of as more of a deconstruction of podcasts as an idea.
I think we're pushing to the limit how like self-aware you can be of podcast issues.
We're really pushing to the limit of what you could consider consumable entertainment.
The social experiment.
So eventually we're going to have to get into our Reconstruction era. Talk
Over
about
my dead
the
body.
fundamental...
This is the golden age.
We're literally just going to become meta about what makes a podcast and playing with that.
But we're too meta, I think.
So I think we might already be into the Reconstruction era.
We're getting into postmodernism now.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of postmodernism, we've arrived at Metroid 2: Return of Samus. Released for the Game Boy in 1991. Actually came out in North America first, weirdly.
Yep.
Then came out in Japan a year later. So the American version actually had a save system, which is something that they did because they're like, oh, those poor Americans, that they'll just get very tired if they have to restart the game.
Darn
every time they
right.
die.
Considering how long the game was, and how annoying the password system was for regular Metroid, no, I fully support. And they really wanted to show off that they could do a save system on the portable.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that? I thought no, that wasn't the first Game Boy game with a save pack.
No, it was just the first. Yeah, it was the one that kind of established that Nintendo was going to be doing that.
Yeah.
This is, of course, we'll skip forward. Do you guys have any notes on Metroid 2? I've heard that it's good, but like not exceptional. Is that
It's the one I haven't played all the way through. Actually, I played the remakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing, it is absolutely exceptional for a Game Boy game from 1991, and I don't say that as
Sure.
a qualifier. I say that as a temper your expectations. This was
Yeah.
bloody amazing for its time. Also, it gave us the Spider
Right.
Ball.
Yeah.
this does lead to my next question, which I have heard again from several people. Should you really just play the 3DS remake instead?
They're very different experiences.
Yeah, I usually don't see remakes as replacements, because there's also the fan-made one, AM2R.
AM2R, all three of them are completely different beasts.
Yeah, I think they're all really, really cool for their own reasons.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
consider essentially AM2R and Samus Returns 3DS as like playing a hack of Super Metroid. It's very similar, but there's a benefit to playing the original as well.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right, so then we'll jump forward over to Super Metroid, of course, our prize baby,
Big boy.
for the SNES, the big boy. So I do, of course, have access to this, and Rhi, you do too. It's living in your Switch right now in the SNES library.
Bloody is as well, isn't it? We've got no excuse.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about giving it a shot over the weekend, since it's already in there. But yeah, so this really expanded the formula here and really set into stone like what Metroid and therefore Metroidvania games could do going forward. This was kind of like, had multiple power-ups, like kind of an actual narrative to follow. And it was considered at the time, like a lot of people have considered it the best game on the SNES. Like, it's pretty much that versus Super Mario World for that title. They're fighting all the time. Who knows? Who's gonna get it?
Link to
Legend
the
of
past.
Zelda? No.
Oh,
Link to the Past.
Jinx!
Link to the Past coming in.
No, actually, no. The true winner is Link to the Past, Super Metroid Co-Randomizer.
Oh, yeah. I've always wanted to check that out.
It is
What is
insane. You have to be very good at both games to do that well.
I will not be trying this then.
Yeah. Link to the Past Randomizer, you can do that casually. Super Metroid Randomizer, you have to be very good at Metroid. The both of them is it'll do your head in. But it's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's...
just in a technical sense.
Yeah. So this one was actually directed by Sakamoto, who would lead the basically the franchise going forward, the whole 2D franchise at the very least, because of course, like we talked about, the 3D ones were developed by Retro over in America. So yeah, like tell me about Super Metroid a little bit. Like, what is it about this that makes people go back to it in 2021 and say this is still one of like the best games?
The gorgeous animations, the smoothness, like it's all so buttery smooth. The only time that you'll ever really encounter slowdown is right after you kill a boss and all of the explosion effects are going off all at once. And maybe a teensy bit at the end of the escape sequence, but it's like the ride is super smooth. There's so many new tricks and gimmicks. There's a huge area to explore. You can do it in basically any order if you're good enough. People will do crazy like low percent and no percent runs. The different speedrun categories of this game are insane. Also, it is a game that is very much built for speedrunning because the specifically Metroid before it, not Metroid 2. It does have if you complete this in under 2 hours, and if you complete this with 100% of items, like bonus messages. Later Metroids would go on to go with low percent and 100.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, Rhi, please.
I'm just saying, like, because I actually do know a bit about this game just through speedrunning alone. Was this like one of the first few speedrunner games, or was it sort of later on that people?
Oh no, it was one of the first
potential?
because it has an in-game timer that reports itself when you complete it, so that made it very, very useful for doing speedruns. Now that is not a real-time timer; it actually suffers slowdown and doesn't play during certain segments. So there actually was a question of whether or not to do real-time tracking or in-game tracking.
Yeah, I'm aware of sort of the issues of that.
I don't know if they're
older games.
completely decided. I think they do both now.
Yeah.
Usually with the speedrunning community, it's like, when in doubt, just split it into a new category.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I know, like, sort of almost like every game that has an in-game counter, there's sort of, at some point, there's that discussion over which one they actually use, and then it is the downsides of the in-game one sometimes. But it's just, it's interesting that it still has a speedrunning community after all this time.
Yeah, I think it's still one of the more, like, popular, like, blocks when like Summer Games Done Quick and Awesome Games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really good for races. It's very close to being optimized for like actual runs, but it's really good for races because there's ways you can decide to take things for safety's sake and stability's sake in your run, which makes it for really great, and it's really great to do commentary on.
It's so good to watch as well. Like, you didn't have to know a lot about the game to just sit watch it.
And I will say, like, that I think a lot of the best SNES games do this too. But like, regardless of how it feels or whatever, like, it still looks very good. Like, the pixel art they really nailed at that time in Nintendo history. Like, Super Mario World still looks great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just like nailing the atmosphere too. Like a Super Nintendo game like that, just having such a like palatable, creepy atmosphere to it is just like unlike anything else on the console.
It makes full use of every sprite layer available to it, and like it does. Like Samus has a breath cycle.
Yeah,
like it's a very subtle, like 1 pixel thing, 1 to 2 pixel, but it's fluid. It's animation. It changes when you're at low health.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really well done.
Nice. Yeah. Well, let's keep rolling, like Samus might do if you find the power up there.
If you can't, then you suck. It's literally the first power up.
Yeah. So suck on that, haters.
Sometimes you
okay.
start
So
with it.
Now, what is that called again? Like the
Morph Ball or the Maru Maru.
Morph Ball. Yeah. I know, and of course you know the Morph Ball from Smash Bros. Rhi, as I do.
Of course, yeah. I really care about Smash Bros.
Exactly.
So I liked this a lot. They got to the N64. Sakamoto says, here's a quote from him: "When I held the N64 controller in my hands, I just couldn't imagine how it could be used to move Samus around." I've often felt that way about all games with the N64 controller.
Yeah,
The
that
N64
was ahead of
for a
time.
single video
Yeah.
game, really.
They shouldn't have done a middle stick. There was a Mad Catz controller, despite being a Mad Cat controller, that had like the perfect layout, and so many modern N64 like throwback controllers have modeled it after that.
Oh, okay, interesting. I've not used that one.
Yeah, it was both the stick and the D-pad over on the left.
Yeah, it's a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So just imagine being a game dev, like really looking forward to the next generation of gaming, and like, oh, I've got this exclusivity deal with Nintendo, it's gonna be great, and you get handed that controller, and it's like, yeah, make your games with that.
Make it feel good.
Yeah.
You're like holding the controller and you're like, is this a Metroid? It's like,
there was a racing game, I think it might have been Extreme G, but I just remember that after a while you literally just unlocked the 64 controller as one of the race vehicles, and it made a lot more sense as a race vehicle in that game than a controller.
Oh god. It looks like a Star Wars pod racer.
No, it really does. It looks like a starfighter.
So basically, the Nintendo actually reached out to a third-party company, which apparently nobody knows who it was, about making an N64 Metroid, but they turned it down because they said that they couldn't make a better game than Super Metroid, and so they didn't want to try.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll believe that.
Which is like, what an interesting mentality this game created. Like, nobody wants to make a Metroid game because they already made the best one. Sorry.
Imagine if like other industries were like that. It's like they release a new game. It's like, no, this is the best one. We're gonna stop making Assassin's Creeds now. No more like annual Ubisoft releases. We've decided we can't get any better.
We've peaked.
Bye.
I believe you suggested a good thing, though?
Yeah,
Because
I know.
Ubisoft needs to stop doing the annual release.
Yeah.
They were doing much better when they weren't doing it.
They're biannual now. Come on.
Yeah, no, and the games are better for it.
Yeah, they are better for it. That's true. Okay, so jump ahead to 2002 here. We got Metroid Fusion, which is for the Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm.
That was developed internally at Nintendo, directed by Sakamoto. Pretty much. So is this the third game or fourth game in the series now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was like kind of more mission based, and it has like it does like apparently a little bit more.
It's the most linear
guidance
game in the series.
It's
got
how
great
did people
set
like
pieces.
this one?
They were divided.
Okay.
It was a very interesting story. It was great. People were just like, but I can't dick around. I can't sequence break. You know, there's one place where you can sequence break. And if you do, you're rewarded with okay, you sequence broke, now go and do it the regular way.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Nice.
That was one of the rare 10 out of 10s I remember seeing in Game Informer, and I was like, oh my god, is this like the future of the series? And I remember playing it around the time, like not too long after that, and thinking it was really good.
Yeah, no, it's very well crafted. It's just a lot of people are like, I don't know, like, it was a lot of very minor complaints. Like, everybody recognized that it was very extremely competent, very well put together, but something about it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, it doesn't lend itself as well to like the community that grew up around Super Metroid, like with the speedrunning and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. The let's see here.
I think part of it
got
is
distracted.
that it makes you check back in the comm center way too often instead of just letting you get updates as you're going.
I do remember that being like one of the things I was like, oh my god, do I really have to do this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've been distracted by the fact that apparently the official Konami merch account has shown that they'll be putting up some Silent Hill merch now.
Oh, Pyramid Head body pillow?
I've been dragged back into the Kojima hole.
Oh no!
I thought I had climbed out.
You've
Yeah.
never
I was like,
climbed
oh,
out, Nirav.
Hang on, Nirav, can I fuel the fire quickly?
Sure.
So I saw today, apparently, very recently, Kojima and Konami have started refollowing each other on Twitter.
Oh my god, the hole's getting bigger.
My divorced parents are getting back together. My parent trapped them.
Oh my god, Konami's just selling blue boxes. What does this mean?
Oh my god, I was so far in the hole. Like I think I've come to the conclusion that like this Blue Box Studios is basically running an intentionally misleading ARG to draw attention to their game.
Yeah. But
That's sort of where I've landed on this. But what if it's Kojima though?
The trick is that Kojima's paying them to run an intentionally deceptive ARG to lend attention to Kojima.
The craziest thing, I think, was that, like, looking at that trailer for Abandoned, I was like, this is like a shitty Unity game. Like, this isn't Kojima. And then I was like, he made a whole fake game for this trailer. Oh my god.
I can see
This
that.
goes so deep. Dude, this is so deep, it goes all the way to the top, which, like, you know, is, I guess, like, slightly above the middle since it's video games. But, like... Yeah, anyway, I'm curious to see how that plays out. Do you think it would be funnier if it is or isn't Kojima at this point.
I'm like not really invested in Kojima games, so I will find it hilarious and will want to actually buy the indie devs a beer if like they've just pulled everyone's leg and this is all fake, because there will be a lot of outrage.
The translation thing is the translation thing is the only thing that's still really messing with me. Is like that their names translate to each other. It's still like the idea that like this just happened by coincidence is like almost too much. But anyway,
just so long as Mads Mikkelsen is involved, I'm good either way.
That picture of Mads Mikkelsen eating the sandwich was actually a screenshot from the upcoming Silent Hills game.
That's the plot. That's the gameplay loop. You are Mads Mikkelsen. You have to eat a sandwich.
Costa coffee, I guess.
Yeah.
I love the idea. I think that like my idea is that we're gonna like get abandoned and like like the game, and it's still gonna say like Blue Box Studios, whatever. We put it in, and like you get all the way to like the end, and then like the reward screen is like the main character taking off their robot suit, and it's Norman Reedus inside. And then he like winks at the camera, and then like it tells you that you did just play Silent Hill.
This is what 24 hours of like diving into this rabbit hole does to a man. You'll end up like coming
crazy.
up with things like this.
There's so many Reeduses in this hole. Like
it's a Reedus hole. Yes, we understand.
It's like, oh my god. And then I like shuffle around amidst this mass of Normans, and like I step on a Guillermo del Toro, and I'm like, oh, who's here? It's crazy down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's at least 5 Totoros in this hole as well.
Okay, so we'll hopefully next week we'll be able to report on what's actually happening, because I think the reveal of that game is tomorrow. And Jeff Keighley's been teasing it awfully hard.
Oh god, I am not looking forward to next week if this is all fake. It's gonna be.
The reveal is that it has nothing to do with Kojima, but everything to do with Norman Reedus.
Oh my god. I actually don't think I think that the reason I want it to be Kojima is more so that I can like believe that magic is real. Because like I think my bet on our Discord server, Josh, I don't know if you saw, was that like if this is not Kojima, then I will fervently and loudly declare to the world that love is dead and magic never existed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's quite crushing. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm either way. I'm looking forward to the outcome.
Yeah. Right.
But,
so let's get back to Metroid. So in 2000, of course, Nintendo purchased Retro Studios as a first-party studio over in Austin, Texas, and Shigeru Miyamoto just moseyed on down.
Oh no!
And showed up in Retro.
We know from previous episodes that doesn't end well usually. Right,
and so they're hard at work at Retro, like getting ready to make their 3D Metroid game, and they've got their prototype ready, and then Miyamoto just pokes his head in the door, and it's like, oh my god, I thought you were in Japan. Like, I didn't think this could happen to us.
You're safe from having
I thought we had a whole ocean keeping us safe.
Your project Miyamoto'd in a split second. No one's safe.
Yeah, so I actually have heard this story previously, that like he was extremely influential in guiding the project, though. I haven't seen a lot of stuff about him, like, shitting on and destroying their project and rebuilding it. Like, it seems like he was actually a pretty helpful point of guidance in developing this over at Retro.
It would have been a long flight. Maybe he was feeling more optimistic. He was like, you know what, I've flown this far. I'm going to say it's good. I don't want to waste this journey.
There was one thing that they did a poo-poo that Retro wanted to put in. They had wanted to include the possibility of actually hunting specific bounties.
Oh, like a bounty hunter might do.
Yes, which revealed that nobody in Japan knew what the hell Retro was talking about. The term that we got as bounty hunter was something else entirely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they were trying to communicate some other concept, I guess.
Yes. So the idea is largely similar. It's sort of a deputized government agent that gets paid for their work, but she's not hunting down escaped criminals specifically. She's more of a she's more of a mercenary.
A mercenary or a privateer.
Yeah,
working for the government.
She's a freelancer. She's just like us.
Are you telling me Samus is a narc?
Oh no!
No, she's totally cool with drugs.
Are you saying we're narcs?
Nirav
So
is.
yeah, like, oh, okay. I didn't. Well, I'm not on record saying that. Metroid Prime was, of course, like I said, the first 3D Metroid, and it moved it basically the concept of a Metroidvania into a first-person 3D world. A little bit less of a dependence on the principles of a Metroidvania, but still had some of those shades of that design in there. Nintendo very much stressed that this was not a shooter. They said this is a first-person adventure game, but it is a first-person game in which you are shooting things.
Yeah.
I can sort of see where their distinction is, because while there is shooting, it's not the focus on heavy gunplay. It is a lot. Platforming is a big deal in it, and a lot of it is exploring and finding the random stuff. Whereas it's not a Call of Duty by any means.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of locking on and circle strafing.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that also, yeah, this was also the very first Nintendo game to be developed by a non-Japanese company, which is pretty neat. They got to do that.
Technically.
Technically.
In that, for example, Star Fox 2. But that
Right.
never
Okay.
came
Well,
out.
that was never released,
Yeah.
so I guess yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were a couple of these, like... I mean, there was also Donkey Kong Country, but I don't know if that really counts in the same way.
That was developed by Retro, yeah, or by Rare, yeah. That was them who did that.
But again,
yeah.
that was not in the same sense, because that was like a deliberate departure, whereas this was supposed to be in the same style. So it was, however, monumental.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Like, and of course, like after Nintendo bought, like, they bought Retro Studios and they became a first-party studio. They're like, that was a big deal. Like, they were so impressed with the work they were doing on Metroid Prime. So it was pretty big. And then I think the other, they didn't own Rare. I think is who was the one they just bought? For Next Level Games.
Yeah.
Nintendo bought the Canadian studio Next Level Games, so I think Next Level and Retro are still their only non-Japanese studios, if I know correctly. First party,
I believe so.
I think so. Yeah.
Rare was always in a weird, like, I think it was they called it a second
they weren't
party.
They
weren't first party, but they were basically exclusive at the time.
They developed exclusively for who else is it that does that? Like Grezzo, for instance. Like, don't they develop exclusively for Nintendo, but Nintendo doesn't own them?
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yeah. So, from what I've heard, like, as far as, like, owning studios, like, that's not as much of a thing in Japan as it is over in the West. Like, it is kind of a pretty monumental thing to acquire a studio. And so, like, the purchase of Next Level Games, like, a few months ago, was pretty crazy because it's the first time Nintendo bought a studio in 10 years. Like, the last studio they bought was Monolith Soft back in 2012, and that was only to save Monolith Soft from going bankrupt and closing.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because Monolith Soft has made some great games.
It's good, yeah. And I mean, we talked about how Sega did the same thing for Atlas. Like, they bought them essentially to keep them from closing down and going bankrupt.
And now Atlas is making their most profitable games.
Yes, and now Atlas is the only thing keeping their company afloat, while Sonic does loop-de-loops in the sky, and we have no idea what it's called.
And we buy it anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, like, I'm at the point where, like, they've got me so fucking, like, in a stranglehold that, like, I don't even know what this next Sonic game is called, and I'd pre-order it right now.
Yeah, I'll be there day one.
Sorry, I know the last thing we need is another side note, but, like, did you see that basically most of it's been leaked already because a bunch of testers just couldn't keep their mouth shut?
I know the title is Sonic Rangers, but what about? I haven't seen any details about the actual game. Actually, throw them out here now. This is our scoop.
So it's like possibly set in Mystic Ruins from Sonic Adventure.
Oh my god! What?
Yeah.
There,
or at least
it's
heavily inspired. Apparently the soundtrack's banging, but we knew that already.
Yes, we already knew that. That's
God, I forget what bad guy it is, but there's one returning. It's from the one Sonic game I didn't play. Yeah, it's
Oh,
RPG mechanics. That's the big thing in this game. RPG mechanics.
Oh my God! Is this Sonic Chronicles 2?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are we getting the Dark Brotherhood sequel? Have they finally decided to tell Ken Pender just to go F himself?
Someone had to.
Yeah,
The big question is, did we get BioWare back for this one?
I beg. Come on,
will the
BioWare.
soundtrack be like that again?
BioWare, you're not busy. You've got plenty of... I'm sure EA will give you plenty of money for this. You are on very good terms with them, I'm sure. Please.
BioWare, you're standing on extremely thick ice right now, very secure. So that's exciting. All right. Anyway, let's get into Metroid Prime. So quickly, your thoughts on both of you on like the Prime trilogy. Like, is it overrated? Is it actually that good?
Oh no, it's great.
Yeah,
if you
I
get a
love it.
chance, play the remastered trilogy version. I mean, maybe if you can turn off the motion controls for the first two in that one.
If you play on an emulator for like on Dolphin, then there is a mod for the games that turns it into like a regular like mouse controlled first person shooter.
Oh yeah,
that apparently works very well.
yes.
So that's how I'll be trying it.
That would be the best way. Yeah. But no, they're great. They actually are some of the games that show why Samus gets depowered and has to collect all the stuff again, and does it in a fairly believable way.
Yeah.
And literally, one of the excuses of the first time is, no, I was literally only just borrowing this stuff. You can have it all back. It's yours.
Yeah.
She was borrowing her cool suit.
No, she was borrowing the equipment that she integrated into her cool suit to save the planet that she was currently on. And when she saved the planet she was currently on, it's like, no, this is yours. I mean, it'd be rude of me to just take it. I can take the Chozo stuff because that's my dad. It's all mine anyways. But this is your stuff.
Actually, I have a question. Has Samus ever had a voice?
Yes.
In
Apart
which
from
game
Other
was
M?
that?
In all the Metroid Prime games, she has had grunts, which I think has always been. Was it Laura Bailey or was it who was it?
Oh, wow.
Laura, I refuse to accept Laura Bailey is also Samus
Hold
on
on.
top of every
No,
fucking
I
else.
don't think it was Laura. Hold on.
So imagine paying the money for Laura Bailey and then just getting her to do grunts.
Jennifer
grunt.
Hale.
Actually,
Jennifer
like
Hale,
by
yeah,
the
Jennifer
time
Hale.
by the time you finished that sentence, I was like, absolutely, I would do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
it was,
sorry. It was Jennifer Hale.
Yeah.
So
Finn Shep,
and
I
then,
think.
that's possibly
Yeah,
even
that-
more insulting that they got
And
her
a-
to just like, make some generic soldier noises, please.
And
This is
Well,
pre-Mass
hey,
Effect, so
she was coming right off of Mass Effect, making a lot of shoulder noises.
but
so
she
I
also
guess,
had Jessica Martin for Other M, and for Smash Bros. Alexis Guildwell.
I don't know
Blindwell,
either of them.
Sorry.
they're not like one of the 5 voice actors that get.
They're not
traded
one of the
around.
5
Yeah.
voice actors that people know about. So does she ever have like full voice sentences, or is it just like grunts?
Mostly just in Other M, which is where
Okay.
the worst dialogue is
Sure.
in most
Great.
any Nintendo game is from. The baby. Just every
What?
delivery is so wooden. The guy who does Anthony is still great. Anthony's the best thing about Other M. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Sure. So yeah, everyone play the Prime trilogy. It's good apparently.
It's very good.
That is on my for sure 100% to play list one day. So in 2005 we're getting to Metroid Prime Pinball, which is a spin-off. Do we need to talk about this a lot?
It's fun.
Listen, we've got a 30-minute expose on Prime Pinball. But no, we don't need to talk about it at all. It's very
Prime
simple. It's a retelling of
Hunters.
Prime with Pinball. Prime Hunters is great.
Okay, that's multiplayer, right? That was for the DS. I
multiplayer,
remember this one.
DS.
There was a free demo. There was a free demo on the DS of this that my brother and I had, and we played a lot of
I
it.
had
And
that
I don't.
too.
I still have it.
We didn't ever buy their full game.
The full game is great fun. Yeah, the interesting thing about that one is that much like Echoes, it introduced an ammo system for more than just missiles, and you had a lot more weapons that you could steal from the other hunters. And it was a sort of a rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock situation where each hunter's weapon was a bit more effective against another hunter.
Okay, nice. And then, of course, in 2006, Metroid Dread began development.
Yep.
Yep, and that version was not completed, nor was it released. I believe that was being developed. It did star Duke Nukem. I believe that was being developed internally at Nintendo. And eventually they, I don't think we have the details on why it didn't get made. Like, it just sort of, like, they had announced, not made a formal announcement, but people at Nintendo had talked about it in, like, magazine interviews and stuff. Like, hey, we're working on Metroid Dread. That's going to be the next one.
I think the only thing that they've said about it was where the technology was and where our ambitions were. They did not match.
Do you think the DS wasn't shaped right, like, for a Metroid game?
No, I think it would have done perfectly. I think it was literally they just wanted more than the hardware was capable of. And then with the 3DS, they were like, okay, we're getting very close. Because Dread basically looks like it's riffing very heavily off of what they gave us in, Samus Returns 3DS. Yeah.
I was actually talking about this earlier, too, with the Arcane Studios, because they also had a game in 2008 that they were developing called The Crossing, and they basically came to a point where they had to cancel the game because the hardware couldn't keep up with how high concept the idea was. And of course, like, me being like a big stan for the studio, like, the second that they showed the first trailer for Deathloop, I was like, holy shit, they actually finished the game. So yeah, Deathloop is the finished version of the concept for The Crossing, which like they said, like, the hardware could not handle that level of, like, system complexity and, like, multiplayer invasion stuff going on,
nice.
At the time. So I'm so glad they were able to resurrect that idea and, like, put it. The old one was very different though, because it was, like, in this, like, bland sort of, like, multi-dimensional war zone sort of thing, and it was, like, very Call of Duty looking. So I'm very glad it changed to this sort of thing.
I'm very glad that the very disco mod inspired world that they recognized came about.
Yeah, so that does happen, and definitely people get ideas that are ahead of their time. So it's good to see those things come to fruition eventually. Yeah. So of course, let's get to the pinnacle, Metroid Other M. This was developed by Team Ninja. Who've done, what were some of their bigger games? Like, I know they did the bad Devil May Cry.
That was Dead or Alive as well.
That was Ninja Theory.
That was Ninja Theory. Jesus
Team Ninja
Christ.
did the 3D Ninja Gaidens, Dead or Alive.
Neo, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive,
You can't have two.
Hyrule
there can't
Warriors.
be two Ninja Studios.
Yeah,
I know.
There can't be.
It throws me off too.
There's more than just two.
I will not let there be. Team Ninja is. Are they wholly owned by Koei Tecmo now?
I think now, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think at the time.
Koei Tecmo's their parent company. Actually, looks like Tecmo's been their parent company since 1995.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, they did the Hyrule Warriors and they did Age of Calamity, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Omega Force did Persona 5 Strikers, though, as a different team at Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
And they also did Fire Emblem Warriors from Omega Force. But anyway, I'm just ranting. So Other M, it says
Team Ninja also did Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay. So Other
Omega
M
was also with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Omega Force was being primed to take over as doing, like, the B team for the Musos with Fire Emblem Warriors, so that they could go off and do their other thing. Because I think that was Omega Force's first Muso title.
Might be.
Yeah.
So Other M, just Sakamoto said, here's one, and here it is. It released on the Wii, August 31st. It says 2010. So 2010.
No, never mind.
This one was a third-person game, and it had more of a focus on action, more of an action game. It says it received weaker reviews. I guess that would maybe an understatement.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say anything good about this, and usually it's the characterization I hear.
Right, of Sam.
Yeah,
this is the.
She's she's very meek. Apparently, she's not assertive at all. Yeah.
This is the Super Princess Peach of the Metroid franchise.
Hey,
Super Princess Peach is
a banging
is
game.
better. Super Princess Peach is great.
Well, no, not in that it's bad, but in that it characterizes Peach as like crazily emotional when she's like the most stable person in the entire Mario canon.
But like,
Well, no, that was an
she
effect
girl
of the
bosses that
magic
shit.
that was being used in Super Princess
I know.
Peach. So.
But she
But
like,
yeah, no, this is without a.
She's a
Go
queen.
ahead.
She weaponizes those tears. She was the
Yeah.
original Karen, the original girl boss. She was
Jesus
the blueprint.
Christ.
Gaslight gatekeep girl boss.
Literally, she invented it. This is Super Princess Peach's world, and we're currently just living in it.
I cannot wait to see Samus open a multi-level marketing scheme.
Just sells Avon supplies to people.
Listen, you need super
Multi-level
missiles.
Metroid.
You need super missiles. Those Metroids are coming for you. I got a 2-for-1 deal on ice beams here.
And if you buy 2 ice beams from me, you can sell one to somebody else. Yeah, so I was actually going to check Metroid Other M. I was just going to check the Metacritic on that and see how it did. Because I want to know. I wasn't really plugged in at the time.
79.
79. That's pretty.
For comparison, Metroid Prime 1 has a 97. Literal flip-flop of numbers there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So right. So we'll get into the Metroid Prime series. The Metroid series as a whole has been very critically acclaimed outside of, I guess, this one. But and this one still looks like it did. I mean, 79 is not bad. So it's still like a solid game apparently.
Mechanically, it was great. The story was stupid, and they could have made it so much better with just a couple changes, slightly less wooden actress, and letting Samus be a sarcastic bitch.
I would have liked
Yeah,
that.
because here's the thing. There's absolutely every reason in universe for her to, not be doing shit, but she doesn't have to, cause yes, you're technically a civilian. This is a military outpost and a military installation. We can tell you to leave anytime. You were here under our sufferess. And it's like, okay, fine.
What?
Dick. But, and it's also people that she used to hang out with. It's her former squad mates.
Right.
But she should absolutely be a sarcastic sass bastard to them. Especially when she's about to do the dumbass thing that everybody notes is the dumbest dumbass thing. When she goes into the lava section without her Varia suit. Because Adam told her to turn it all off. And I would have just said, all right, Adam, I'm going into the lava. If I die, it's on your head because you made me turn it off.
It sounds like there were some story issues in this
She
game.
gets like most of her
stories.
upgrades just by, okay, you can have them now, Samus. It's okay.
Yeah.
I said you can.
Yeah, and I've authorized it.
Ugh. Makes me feel
Okay, so-
slimy.
Ugh. So we're at the Wii U. Thank God.
Finally,
a,
we're free.
a safe refuge.
Anyone who's ever said those words. Oh, thank God, the Wii U.
So we're at the Wii U. This is very funny. I was reading about how Sakamoto actually, when the Wii U was being shown as proof of concept for the hardware, he had developed a prototype new Metro game for the Wii U, showing the scanning process on the gamepad and how that might work and like item inventory stuff like that. And that game got turned into the Metroid Nintendo Land thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Oh, God. That's
It's
so funny.
Yeah,
a fun little game.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Never had a
So-
bad Nintendo Land experience.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually haven't. And by the way, the Luigi's Mansion game in Nintendo Land is like fucking goat.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
it's
it's
amazing.
great. Yeah, I like
it's
the Animal
extremely
Crossing
good.
one as well. I had a fun
Animal
time with
Crossing
it.
one's great
Donkey
too.
Kong one fills me
And
with
Nintendo
rage.
Didn't they have like Link's crossbow training too? In
Yeah,
there?
that one was
Yeah.
great
Of course.
too.
In 2014, Next Level Games actually started developing a new Metroid game for the 3DS, and they actually got as far as making a playable prototype, and then Nintendo looked at it and said, do Luigi's Mansion instead.
I'm fine with
Incredible.
that, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting that like something about this Metroid prototype was like, that should be Luigi.
Luigi curls up into a ball. I'd love to see the original prototype, but with Luigi instead of Samus' sprite.
Oh my
and just to
God.
see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like
Luigi curling himself into a ball and dropping bombs everywhere. Mamma mia, creds are gonna kill me. Maybe that's why he's in
Luigi-
so many like horrible accidents in the Smash trailers.
yeah, Luigi is also sorry.
Oh, just because it's like, He's technically encountered all of these people in all the prototypes.
Yeah. Luigi's Mansion also does have shades of Metroidvania in it, though.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. I think I saw somebody ask, like, what genre is this, like, about Luigi's Mansion 3? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's a dungeon crawler.
Or
Yeah.
Metroidvania crawler.
It's hard to describe. Okay, so 2017, and Metroid fans are starving.
We are.
They're so hungry.
Please suck 'em.
So
We can only play
like we,
so many different Metroidvanias before we need a little bit of a hit from the main vein.
Yeah.
right. And so Nintendo did release a remake of Metroid 2 for the 3DS. It's called Metroid Samus Returns, developed by Mercury Steam, who is a Spanish studio, and which was really dope. I don't think they had made anything big before that.
No,
so
they
it's cool
they
that Nintendo
had.
Funny enough.
Oh, they had.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen.
And do you know what it was?
What was it?
It was a Castlevania game.
Yeah.
It was the
They did three.
Yeah, 3 Castlevania games, one of which was a Metroidvania. But
have
they were the
opinions on
Lords of
this.
Shadow people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were Lords of Shadow. I've heard mixed opinions on
I
those.
have mixed opinions on those.
Yeah, no. Again, the gameplay is great, but the story is just sort of okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Were those the 3D ones, like on the 360
Yes.
or whatever?
Yeah, and then
Yes.
one of them was a 3DS game that they later did like an HD re-release of.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I mean, I guess that makes sense that they might have like been like, "Hey, you guys know something about this genre.
You know half of this.
Yeah.
You know half of it at least.
Now for the other half.
Try the other half." Yeah. And so yeah, Mercury Steam is actually they're a pretty big studio. I think I saw the other day somebody said there's 150 people working there. So this is a pretty large team working on this game on Metroid Dread. So they retained that side-scrolling, and they added, it was 3D graphics, 2.5D, quote-unquote, game, where it's a 3D world and 3D graphics, but from a 2D view, and has melee combat, has parrying and stuff like that, too, they added.
Well, the parrying is the majority of the melee combat.
Okay.
There are certain attacks that'll give you, like, a prompt that you can do a parry, and it'll open them up for, like, a big, like, close-up aggro attack. But most of it's, run and jump and gun.
Okay. And then, of course, we're here, and we remember at E3 2017, Nintendo did do a title tease for Metroid Prime 4. Let me just check the date right now. It is June 19th, 2021. Interesting.
Yeah. Funny how we haven't had anything since. That was my point in our. Well, my 2 points, basically, in our. Nothing for Metroid Prime 4 with the C3.
You did win that bet.
Yeah.
Which they did acknowledge its existence.
Yeah,
though.
but they told us nothing.
So we do have to qualify, of course, in early 2019. So Bandai Namco was originally working on this game. I don't know what they produced, but whatever it was so horrendous that Nintendo canceled the project and kicked them off of it and restarted from scratch with Retro Studios, who had done the original Metroid Prime trilogy.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it was, we'll see it as a Tales of game sooner or later.
Yeah. It's like when CyberConnect 2 was taken off the Final Fantasy VII remake. It was just like, what? What did that look like?
Like, what about this was so
Yeah,
bad that they had to hide it from the
What
world?
happened? I want to see that prototype now.
I do.
Release the Bandai Namco cut.
In both of them,
Release the Bandai Namco
Look.
cut.
The Bamco cut is not going to be that. Look,
Look, it's also only 4 hours long.
Yeah.
that might be a mercy. Okay, in the context of that, this video of what's his name? Not Furukawa. What's the guy? The Nintendo man. Who's in the directs
Oh,
sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot. I forgot his name.
I know Koizumi. It's not him. It's the other guy. But also, can I say, like, I really miss when Koizumi did the directs. I like him a lot.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
I'm glad he appeared at E3 though. Okay. So anyway, they appeared. They did a video where they just explained basically that it was not up to snuff from what Nintendo considers to be their standard of quality, and that they were not. That basically Bandai Namco was not going to do what they wanted, or produce something to the quality that they thought Metroid Prime deserved. So, of course, moving it internally to their own retro studios, they were restarting development, according to some people behind the scenes, 100% from scratch. Like, none of the stuff that Bamco had done was being reused.
Unbelievable.
If that is the case, it would explain why a game that just started development in April 2019 has still not been seen.
Yeah, understandable. Take your time, Kings. You got this.
Yeah. I'm sure that it was going to be like amazing and worth it when it comes out, but I wouldn't anticipate it till 23.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, yeah.
And I do think that this might be the game that kind of sunsets the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I could see that.
It may even be a dual release on the Switch 2 or whatever, like, close out the system thing. But, anyway, like, Metroid Prime 4, is coming. Development is progressing on it, of course, but, like, it's I know a lot of people that was like a big motivator for them to buy a Switch in 2017, and they're still kind of like, waiting. But in the meantime, of course, at E3 2021, Nintendo was like, hey, Metroid Prime 4 is still it exists. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Here's something else a little bit for you. And so this 2D Metroid game has been rumored for the last few months pretty heavily. I think we've all seen a lot of stuff about a new 2D Metroid this year, releasing for the fall, and that did come to fruition, of course. So Metroid Dread is going to be the 5th chronological game in the series, and of course, like I said earlier, will be like the supposed end of the series timeline. So, is Samus gonna die in this one?
I'm scared.
Maybe she'll finally realize that, the galaxy is at peace.
The real Metroid was the friends we made along the way.
I hope it ends with her just buying like
the friends we made along the way were the real Metroids. It's the other way around. Our friends are all Metroids.
Everyone's a Metroid.
Yeah.
So
one thing that I'm curious about is calling this the 5th in the series chronologically. I wonder if they're either discounting one of the other non-primes, or if they're just saying this is number 5 in the 2D.
No, they said, I was reading about that. They refer to it as the main, like the 2D games are the main series. Like all of the Prime games are considered spin-offs.
Okay, well, specifically what I was wondering about is, does this mean Other M isn't canon anymore?
I think so, honestly. I genuinely think
it might be.
That's safe to say.
Because I think they're just counting 1, 2, Super, Fusion, and then now this will be the 5th.
Yeah.
And the...
Yes, that's, I believe, what they were
because Other M is amazing in that it retroactively makes Fusion worse. Because they
that's impressive.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and it's all story stuff. It's none of there's stuff that Samus learns and realizes in Fusion that she already learned in Other M chronologically.
Yeah, I think they've yeeted that one out of existence. That's what I'm believing.
So one thing that's nice that I hadn't seen is that Polygon had an interview with Sakamoto after the reveal of Metroid Dread at E3 this week, and he said that besides Metroid Prime 4, they already have another Metroid game in development at Nintendo. So this series is going to be hitting hard in the next few years.
Well, that's good.
Finally, some good food.
Finally, we eat. So let's talk a little bit about Metroidvanias. So it's a pretty large subgenre of games, and of course gave birth to some of the big games the last few years, Ori and the Blind Forest, Hollow Knight, notably. What about these games works for you? Because Josh, I know that this is probably your favorite genre of games, and it's probably my least favorite. So I would love for you to sort of defend it to me.
It'll be a very lukewarm defense, but I guess for me, a lot of the pros of the genre rely on its exploration and just the satisfaction, the best ones at least, the satisfaction of learning new abilities or finding new things that enable access to other parts of the world you haven't been able to explore yet, and just like getting in Symphony of the Night, getting a double jump 2 hours in, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can go back to this place I couldn't access earlier. This is awesome. And just it's just like a drip feed of good brain chemicals when you're like, oh my god, I can do so much more now that I've learned these new abilities. And mostly for Castlevania, especially like the Igarashi ones that are the Metroidvania formula, I really just like the atmosphere of those two. Just like a big moody castle that just it really all just kind of comes together for me. But it's the exploration's definitely the biggest perk for me. I know backtracking can be kind of a pain for a lot of people, and in some of the lesser good Metroidvanias, you can really tell that like, oh, I don't want to backtrack in this. But movement is also like, if your movement is not good in these games, it's just not going to feel great to play.
Yeah, no.
Right, which I mean, as much as I decry and don't love Hollow Knight, like the movement in that game is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
and that one's also an outlier because it's like 35 hours long, and a lot of the best Metroidvanias are very tightly condensed to be like anywhere from like 5 to 15 hours. Like I think Bloodstained, people were kind of wary of that because they were saying, oh, it's like 15 hours, and like I was sitting there thinking, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, Hollow Knight is weird in that it's a Souls-like Vania.
Yeah, it incorporates a lot.
It and Momodora and Sultan Sanctuary are like a subgenre even then. But even those...
Subgenre.
Oh, yes. Subgenre. We've got those. But no, yeah, it's exploration. It's the atmosphere. It's just, especially combat movement. Because you can do it either hack and slash or run and gun. And you can do it with everything. Like two great Metroidvania games that I've played recently by the same exact studio. One of them is based on the Toho series of games.
Yes, Team Ladybug.
Team Ladybug. And the other one that they did recently is based off of Record of Lodoss War, the D&D anime.
Yeah, I finished that one recently.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're so good. They're both so gorgeous. They look and play completely differently, but they're both so quintessentially Metroidvanias.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
They
both scratch.
So, Rhi, what's your favorite Metroidvania?
God, really none of them. I'm sorry.
No, that's understandable.
No, it's a genre that like I admire it from a distance. I really like watching people play them. Like I said, I love watching speedrunners play them. There's something really satisfying about someone who has to know, the game inside out that much that they know what power-ups to get, they know what paths to take, and they have to form the optimal paths. I love watching them. To play them, I've never really been hooked. I'd love to one day. Maybe it's like
I have to say, like, I've never wanted to like a game I disliked more than with Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
yes.
I remember your exploits in that.
No, that is fair. Hollow Knight has such a great mood and music and everything.
Yeah, the art and music is gorgeous, and I love the world and the characters.
In the goddamn teeth from moments.
I had a couple false starts.
Yeah.
Why is it so mean?
It's really mean.
It's very mean.
So
it wants you to hate it so that you kill it.
So I wanted to kind of round this out with like talking about like, why do you think it is that these games do not sell very well? Because we are at about 17 million sales across nearly that many games over 35 years. Almost all of them are wildly critically acclaimed. Why is nobody buying them?
Yeah, actually, that is a good question. Especially because Metroid is like a staple series for Nintendo. Yet, I think I remember reading an article a few months ago that like New Horizons outsold the entire Metroid franchise. And it's just like...
Right, well, it's actually done almost twice. It's actually now it's done twice as many sales as the entire Metroid franchise.
I guess it's because, I mean, speaking as the baby of the podcast, like, there were just was such little Metroid content that, like, to someone definitely younger than me, it's just not... You're not really going to see it as one of the big Nintendo series. I know for a fact my sister, who was born in 2008, isn't going to see that. Like, it's not going to be a series to follow. It's not going to be like, oh, this series is a safe bet because, you know, I've heard all the other ones are great.
Yeah, it doesn't quite get its hooks in you like Mario, or like you see Mario
Yeah.
or Link and you're
Fire
like, oh, I
Emblem.
know those games. Yeah,
It's
Fire
easy to
Emblem.
jump into the other Nintendo
Fire Emblem
series.
is interesting in that it only recently exploded. It
Yeah.
was in
Yeah,
very
yeah.
modest
But, like-
numbers up until Awakening. Because
like,
Awakening was their, like, that was their, you know, Hail Mary swan song, and then
Yeah.
the series exploded.
I think it needs its
Right.
own, like, awakening, because, like, I was one of those people that started on Fire Emblem Awakening and then backtracked through the series and really liked it. Maybe it's, like, that's what Metroid needs. It needs its...
Metroid Awakening, dude.
It needs its sort of, like, reintroduction to, like, a generation of gamers who, like,
Yeah,
haven't
let's get
grown up with it.
You know what? Let's just get Samus Aran's daughter from the future coming back to save her from the space pirate threat.
You know what? I wouldn't hate it.
I'd play
I'm hoping Metroid Prime 4 does that. I think Dread looks more like a, hey, we've polished off our old formula. Check this out. We added some new bells and whistles.
Maybe the
Like,
install base
I'm
of
hope-
the Switch will help bolster it a bit.
It will. Like I very much anticipate Metroid Dread selling 5-6 million units
Yeah.
easily. Like just because it's like the Switch, you know.
Yeah.
Are there enough ghosts in these games?
There's actually a
the
lot of
Metroid's
ghosts. No, the Metroids
Really?
aren't
There
ghosts,
are.
but Phantoon, technically Nightmare. Let's see. There's not so much ghosts, but there's like leftover like berserk robots from a dying species, you know, that are hunting you. There's zombies and
Oh,
aliens.
love zombos.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. We'll say yes. Nice, good work, Nintendo. I'm actually. I'll go ahead and say this. Like the highest selling Metroid game was Metroid Prime 1 with 1.5 million sales. I think Dread's gonna outdo that on launch day.
Oh,
I think so.
absolutely,
Yeah, I think so
easily.
too.
People are pretty hyped for this. I've seen so many, like hundreds and thousands of people getting excited on all the social medias about like, I've never played a Metroid and this looks cool, like a first party Nintendo game. Like that's that, and like alongside Pokemon, of course, that's like one of their big things.
Yeah.
Like, so for this year. So yeah. All right. Well, let's head out and let's all jump in our ship and let's blast over to Dungeon Busters to close us out. So we are on.
Is the planet exploding behind us?
Yes.
Okay, good. It wouldn't feel like a Metroid if it wasn't.
God,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to do this. I don't think I can do this bit. Sorry,
Sorry.
I really don't think I can stay for the next segment. My like family's been wanting to start dinner for like 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll release you and say that you died on the planet.
Yeah,
behind
I'm
us.
cool with that. Yeah.
No, you went on to your own spin-off games. It's okay. You're in Kid Icarus now. That's canon.
Hey, nice.
Hey, all right. Okay, bye, Rhi.
Right, have fun.
Okay, well, you guys are gonna have to. You guys are down a man for our journey through this dungeon. But
All right.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's okay.
So what I'm gonna do?
I brought back
God.
up.
Okay, great. I don't like that.
Oh, he's
All
harmless.
right, so what we're going to be doing is I have a deck of cards here from Super Fight of, game characters or popular fiction characters, and we're going to be taking them with their own suite of special powers, and you guys are going to help them get through this dungeon. We are on the 8th basement floor here, so we're making steady progress. Let's check it out. So I'm going to draw a card for each of you. So Tim, you are first.
All right.
You are going to be L from Death Note.
Okay.
That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Josh, you're going to be. Oh, this is not shuffled enough. Let me reshuffle. Oh, wow, this is appropriate. A predator, not that kind. It says. I'm gonna just say that you're like the predator.
I don't know if that's better.
Is he Predator 1 Predator, Predator 2 Predator, Predator's Predator, Alien versus Predator Predator? Is he a Predalien? What kind of Predator?
Whichever one Arnold was in.
Okay, that one's cool.
Okay.
That's good.
That one. That's the one.
Okay.
All right. So each of you are gonna have special powers, which I'm gonna draw too. So, Tim, you have 2 powers, and these might be positive or negative traits.
Alrighty.
Let's see here. You are. Oh, these are the ones. Let me start from the other side of the deck here. you are driving the Batmobile.
Okay.
And you are leading a troop of Urukai.
Yeah, no, I'll do that.
Okay, that sounds like very powerful. I don't know if
Yeah, I mean,
Josh, you're gonna be able to.
I have the Batmobile and also those orcs.
Okay, Josh, you have a armed with a giant scissor blade,
Ooh.
and you are the son of Satan.
Okay.
That's not bad. You guys got a good pull. I think our last group was a bunch of kindergartners. Okay, so let's shuffle this a little bit. All right, first room. There's gonna be 3 rooms here, and we'll end with a boss fight. Solving a Rubik's Cube is the only way to escape this room alive.
I'm L.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and give you that one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a blank card. Bullshit card. This is a supernaturally cold room guarded by ice demons.
Well, being the son of Satan, I could probably use fire.
Ooh, you're kind of like nobility.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh yeah. But,
So
hey,
that's 2 rooms we've no-sold.
demons move out of the way.
Great. This is a pretty easy
Yeah.
one. You haven't need to use any of your powers yet. And then this one is a giant sewer pipe guarded by the basilisk. Because it's a sewer pipe, I'm gonna say this is like the Harry Potter basilisk.
Oh, nice.
Snake thing.
So, I know predators can like cloak themselves. Could probably just sneak past them.
Yeah, you've actually got thermal vision
Now
too.
it can smell you.
Oh,
though,
that's
remember.
true. They probably.
But you
smell
can
real
see
bad.
it without having to look at it. So you can you can stab it in an even fight.
Oh,
and
that's
I can
true.
just do hordes of. Also, I probably got a basic repellent bat spray.
You just drive the Batmobile right into his face.
Yeah.
You have a repellent specifically for this.
Have you not seen the Batman movie, Nirav?
He is always prepared.
He's like Inspector
He is always
Gadget.
prepared.
He's got something
Yeah.
for everything.
And then what was the other power? You have a chainsaw hand, right?
or scissor
somebody-
blade.
What is it? You have
Yeah.
a blade,
Yeah.
scissor blade hand.
So you could probably just behead him.
I think that you're having like the ability to see him without looking at him from the thermal vision is good enough.
Yeah.
That's a good sell for me. And then I guess Tim, you're driving the Batmobile. Have you used your orcs for anything?
No, not yet. I'm saving them for
There's-
the boss fight.
They're just vibing.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're just vibing. All right,
They're
You guys have
ghost
made it-
riding the whip along the Batmobile with me.
All right, that's very good. Here's the boss fight. Oh no, you guys are fucked. It's Kirby.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I give up.
No, I'm
No.
L. I have sweets on me. I offer him a sweet.
That's
Ooh.
actually that's genius.
That's pretty
That's the
genius,
way to do
actually.
it.
I think.
He's been satiated.
I think he likes it. I mean, he's not Kirby's never satiated, but he will let you pass.
Yeah.
He
He's
might
calling
even
us
join
right.
us. Yeah.
I like that you guys got the pacifist ending too. I didn't think you would.
Hey.
All right, so let's close out. So thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, let's roll around. Tim, do you have any cool things you're working on you want to shout out?
Nothing particular at the moment. I've got a couple of reviews coming out. Maybe if things calm down, I might get back to doing some video editing. Life has been hectic, what with the buying and selling of houses.
Yes. Oh, congrats on your new home.
Yeah,
too.
Thank you.
nice.
Cool. I guess that's a good thing to plug is new house. Josh, do you have a new house?
No, not yet, but one day.
All right.
One day
What
when
you
this
working
market
on?
is not so crazy.
Yeah, for real. Mostly just I write on my website, jarsh.zone. I haven't written anything in a while because, as Tim said, life is absolutely hectic right now. But I'm working on some other secret things in the background that hopefully come to fruition. So
Nice. Okay. Yeah, make sure to check out jarsh.zone. Maybe the best URL I've heard in a while.
I fought for that one. $7 a year.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, and I am currently doing some neat things. I just gotten a review. I'll be doing it for Tech Raptor, but I did get a review code for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which I'm extremely excited for.
Let
Nice.
us know how it traumatizes you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not be seen for the next 4 days, and it's gonna turn out it's because I shipped myself to Siberia in a crate after what I experienced.
Oh, I thought that was to avoid it.
Yeah, take
No. It's that's me getting mostly into the game and then like leaving to avoid the end because like I'm scared.
Take plenty of breaks, take care of yourself, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Make sure to play it in a darkened room with your headphones on.
I'm going to be playing it with a friend.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm scared.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
No, yeah, I approve.
Yeah, I actually played the first one with a friend too, so me and the same friend are going to get together over like Discord and play together,
nice.
so that'll be fun. Yeah. Okay. So thank you guys again for joining us. Make sure to find us on Twitter at GameBustersPod. I am at Gondizi on Twitter. I think Josh, you're at Jarshzone on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can find us there, and maybe if you have iTunes, go give us a good review. Maybe say hi, say hello. Wow, these are such intelligent people. They always do full sentences. That's about it, I think. So, if you guys wanna, I have to figure out like a new like regular way to end the podcast because like we're not doing sort of a combat situation anymore. So there's no like winner to end us. So is there anything like that we can do to like sort of break us out of the Metroid here?
Well, we can try and leave, but there'll be a self-destruct and everything will blow up behind us probably.
That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Does Samus have like a catchphrase we can say?
No. Unless you count the baby, yeah, or
Would you say the baby?
The baby. From Other M, the most common words in that script are the baby.
Okay. The baby.
The baby.
Goodbye.
Or lady, but that's not from Samus.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. All right. And... That was God intervening.